Hello everyone, Professor Grabenhorst here. I wanted to take some time to show you what I mean by a MEET paragraph. MEET stands for Main Point, Evidence, Explain, and Tie Back to Thesis. This is something that you're familiar with because you've been using the outline to work and write your papers. You'll notice that I've color-coded each section of MEET so that you can see it live in an actual body paragraph. Keep in mind that this is a very basic body paragraph. It only uses one quotation of evidence, and it's relatively short in terms of its explanation and its tie back to thesis. But I wanted to show you an example that was as basic as possible so that you could really see the moments that I'm looking for in terms of your outline. This is what your paper should look like as soon as you put it from your outline into a Word document. So you have your bare bones of your minimum requirements that are required of you in terms of organization and critical thinking and support, of course. So you'll notice that the main point is highlighted in blue. One of the most significant ways Carr makes his thesis clear is through his use of personal anecdotes. So what we can see here is the keyword personal anecdotes. That is the main point of this body paragraph. It's likely that this person has one of their main points is personal anecdotes in their organizational statement in their introductory paragraph. So we have our main point in blue. Our evidence is in yellow. One example of this is when he describes his new reading experience, stating, "Once I was a scuba diver in the sea of words. Now I zip along the surface like a guy on a jet ski." 426. Here we'll notice that we introduce this quotation, so we never want to start our evidence sentence just with a quotation. We always want to introduce it in that same sentence. And we have a correctly formatted citation here, which is also very important in terms of your MLA points and your support points. Right here we have just the page number because we know that we're referring to Carr since we made it clear in the previous sentence. So all we need at the end of this citation is the page number. You'll notice that this quotation is an example of his personal anecdotes, right? He is mentioning a moment when this author's personal experience of reading changed from being a diver in a sea of words to now feel like he is just on the surface. The next part of a MEET paragraph, and arguably the most important, is your explanation. That's there in purple, so explain. Here, Carr illustrates his feelings concerning the change in the way he reads and absorbs information, using a metaphor that readers can connect with personally. It urges readers to analyze their own reading habits and consider his argument more deeply. This is an example of a very direct and concise explanation of why this person chose this quotation to illustrate their main point, which is a personal anecdote used to support this person's argument. You'll notice that this section is longer than the quotation itself. You always want your explanation of your quotations to be around twice the length of your actual quotations. This is a great rule of thumb because it keeps you from having too many quotations in your paper without enough explanations, which we know will not help with our support grade of our paper. The last section of MEET is tie back to thesis. We have it in green here. This anecdotal example supports his overall focus that society's use of Google is changing the way we process information. So again, this is a very simple tie back, but this person's overall thesis is focusing on summarizing how Carr is focusing on Google's use, society's use of Google changing the way we process information. So what you'll do is you'll find keywords from your thesis, and you're explaining how this particular main point that you chose, this evidence and this explanation all tie back in support of what you're arguing overall in your thesis statement.